Hello, welcome back to Swiss Watch, and today with another very cool interview. We're coming from Sydney, Australia, visiting my good friend and watch collector, professor of quantum physics and quantum technology, TEDx speaker, and much, much more, Michael Biercuk. Michael, thank you for having us in Sydney, Australia.
Thanks so much for coming.
To be here. Today we're here to look at your beautiful watch collection. It's very diverse and very special pieces from a lot of different brands, which I really also love. So, Michael, tell us firstly, what do you do for a living? What is it that drives your daily life?
I'm a scientist, right? I run an academic research lab at the University of Sydney. I'm also the CEO of a technology company that I founded in 2017 called Q-CTRL. And all we really worry about is making new kinds of technology that use this new kind of physics, quantum physics, the physics of very, very small things.
Awesome, man. It sounds so complicated. I can't even comprehend. You show me around the lab and the facilities. It's really mind-blowing what you do and how you implement this in real life. It's really awesome.
It's fun to get to build stuff. Yeah.
And also see you have a few watches here ranging from, let's say, a very old model to the newer pieces here. So what is the first watch on the table, actually? What was one of the first watches you got?
Yeah, this is a nice sampling of some of the things I have right now. The first one here is a piece that I bought when I think I was 16. Oh. Now, it's not the first watch I ever bought, but it's the first that I still have. It's a titanium Skagen annual calendar. Oh. I don't think it's run in about 10 years or more, but I pulled it out of a box. The next is Rolex Milhouse. This was the first kind of grown-up watch I bought when I got into watches, and I bought Rolex because to me that was all about being a professional, right? That's what a professional would wear.
Yeah, it's tool watches, right? They were meant to be basically worn in the field of each particular model. So this is a Milhouse.
That's right.
What's specific about this and why do you have it?
So that's special because it's an anti-magnetic watch. And in my academic lab, we use really big magnets. Yeah. So magnetization of movements is a major concern, and this is one that's robust against that. I also think this particular issue, the GV, the green crystal version, is a really nice design touch that makes it quite different, because otherwise it's a pretty standard oyster case. Yeah. And that green flourish is something that I really enjoy.
It is, and the little second hand being in the shape of a lightning bolt.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that when I first got it, but it grew on me over time.
It's a very scientific watch. Yeah.
And you can see, it's been worn. It's pretty heavily used.
Do you have to take it off in the lab when you wear this, or no?
No, this one actually is quite good in terms of being able to wear it anywhere. The only time I'll take it off is if I'm using lasers, because you don't want to reflect off the shiny surfaces.
It can harm your eye. And
that's exactly right.
Interesting. So it's a very a job where you can get hurt as well, huh?
Yeah, we have a lot of melt your face lasers in the lab. Got to be careful.
Awesome.
So next, JLC Master Ultra Thin Moon Phase. This is a new step up for me as I went from a tool watch into high horology. I bought this maybe 5 years ago, and sadly don't wear it as much as I used to, but I think it's a really beautiful piece, great proportions, and unbelievable value for the quality of the movements that JLC offers.
Absolutely, I can agree. With the little moon phase on the 6 o'clock, it's just very romantic.
Nothing overly fancy, but it's just really high quality, and I've not been able to let it go.
But you've worn it a lot. I see it on the strap.
All my watches get worn. I don't put them in safes or storage.
Safe boxes and hide them for 20 years.
No. I'm not a watch investor. I'm a watch owner and collector.
But that's what we like about you, and also your Instagram channel. I've seen your very wide variety of watches, and I just love, because I see the scratches and I'm like, nice. A guy actually who wears the watches all the time.
Maybe I'm just clumsy. I don't know. But they do get beat up. Next one.
Yeah, the brand, the many collectors, and the particular model they want to have and search for.
Yeah, this is, well, it wasn't as hard to find when I bought it. I bought it in, I think, 2017 from the boutique in New York, the Journe Chrono Blue. It was, again, another step up as I escalated in quality. I moved from a major brand over to an independent. It's a pretty fantastic watch. Obviously, the price has gone a little bit crazy in the last year. Look, it's great. I don't tend to flip watches. Yeah. Of course, it's nice to know that the value is going up, but to me, it's just a really beautiful aesthetic. And I went with this one because I wanted something, again, moving towards high horology, but I really like that it is a bit more casual and interesting. And obviously, the dial is something really special.
Beautiful.
Totally different than the Rodier dial from the JLC.
100%. Now that I play with your light here, it looks just awesome. I'm sure you make a lot of You have a lot of shots on your phone with this watch in the morning.
there's a billion photos of that watch just because it's both difficult and really exciting to try to photograph.
The movement's really nice.
Yeah, the rose gold bridges is a really nice touch. I think everything about it is pretty well done. One thing that's, I like that some people may not like is that you can see that this is a watch that comes from a small independent watchmaker. You can see that from piece to piece, there are variations in the glasuta stripes, or the Côte de Genève, as they would call them, or in the perlage. These things are not all exactly the same, and I think it's the mark of a human hand, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's good. And the case is super cool as well. It's
what's cool about this is I for a couple of years I wore this pretty much every day. And you can, if you really look closely, you can see scratches.
Yeah.
But because the tantalum is so hard, it's almost invisible. I think that's pretty awesome. I mean, my gold watches do not look that good.
And also the thickness of the watch and the strap, it looks really comfortable.
It was pretty surprising when I found out that this watch is thinner than the ultra thin, right, by 0.5 millimeter or something.
And it doesn't even have ultra thin in the name.
No, it's not trying to be, but it is. Now, the next watch I got is really, in many ways, the pinnacle of my collection. This is the 1815 chronograph from A.Lange Söhne. Now, I'm a member of Lange Nation, which is a fun Instagram community of collectors. This remains one of my absolute favorites, even though it's not the most expensive. It's just such a stunning interpretation of a classic dress chrono. Really stealth, black on black subdials, unlike the Datograph, which is the reverse panda.
More sportier look.
Yeah, this is a little bit more traditional. You can see my design aesthetic is a little bit on the traditional side. I don't like really out there things, but it's, of course, when you turn over this watch and you see the L951 movement, like this is insanity. And being someone who, as an experimental physicist, I build things for a living, I really like that this is a mechanical object that's designed for beauty. That it hasn't been forsaken. I mean, to me, this is something really quite profound. I take it off and just look at it all the time. It's really hard to photograph because you have, this interplay of the glasuta stripes and the black polish, and you have the gold chaton.
Blue screws.
It's really just
a lot of
spectacular.
colors mixing up.
And I was thinking about a different Lange when I was looking to buy my first one. I was looking at the time zone, which I love. It's probably more practical because I travel so much. I could not pass up a Lange chronograph. There's just no one who makes anything like this.
I think a Lange chronograph, the 1850 in particular, like it's also one of my grail watches, is something you just need to have in your collection.
Yeah.
If you have a chronograph, I think a Lange should be part of it.
I agree, and I became friends with management at Lange before I bought this, and it really was quite special for me to get to wear this on a daily basis as my own piece and hang out with the brand and get to know them as well.
And also the Lange Nation community is very supportive and big, and they have meetups everywhere, right?
Yeah, and now we're even sponsoring events with the brand in various locations. There was one in Seoul, South Korea not long ago. There was one in Europe. I think you're going to see a lot of really big and exciting things coming from Lange Nation.
Awesome.
All the other guys are around the world at this point.
And again, this is a grail watch, so I'm really happy that you brought this with us as well.
Yeah, it is probably the watch that I wear the most these days, as you can see from how beat up the bezel is.
Yes,
it's
there's a few dents here, but again,
it's white gold. It's not tantalum, so it's really soft.
Maybe in the future, but it also makes it much more personal. And again, I love that you wear all the watches. You don't babysit them.
I certainly do. So there was another watch that does not get to appear today, which is the Patek 5170P.
Another beauty.
It's a great watch, but it's back in Geneva.
For a bit of for a spa session.
Tender loving care. Then the next watch I brought is a pretty cool, unusual watch. This is a Beijing watch company, Tourbillon, Li Ka-shing Foundation Special Edition. This is a watch that was a gift from an investor in my company, the Li Ka-shing Foundation. And the story goes, as I understand it, that this watch manufacturer, which is one of the last remaining mechanical movement makers in China, was on the verge of collapse in the early 2000s. And Mr. Li, who was a fan of their watches, made an order for something like 200 or 300 in a special edition tourbillon watches, which helped keep that organization afloat. And since then, they've thrived and they make much more complicated watches than this. There's a distinct Chinese aesthetic with the phoenix on the tourbillon. It's actually a surprisingly nice watch, right? It's pretty refined. The finishing on the movement is quite good, and it's obviously very meaningful based on the connection to my business and the fact that it was such a thoughtful gift from our investors. I mean,
absolutely.
When my investor found out that I liked watches, literally at the lunch table, she made a phone call, and 20 minutes later, this showed up.
No way.
It was so unbelievably thoughtful.
Very cool. Again, but you know, with watches, with all the collectors and friends that I talk about as well, there's the watch that means the most to you and has like a profound meaning to your chapter in your life or whatever is the one that's the most important. I think, you know, it's not always about the price or the finishing or the complications. It's about what this watch means to you, like the Skagen we showed at the beginning. You know, it might be more valuable to you than, you know, some of your more expensive pieces. You know. Sure.
Yeah, this is cool because it's a steel tourbillon as well.
Yeah.
Right? It's not the most common combination. You'll find a few out there. Mm-hmm. And the case back is actually pretty well done.
It looks nice. Huh? Has a Ka-shing also engraved on the.
It even has a little bit of a de Bethune design aesthetic with this kind of delta shape.
It does. It does. No, it's awesome, man. Again, it's a beautiful period of your life and
cool
to commemorate it.
Yeah, that's right.
So then we see a very cool watch on the table as well, which is very rare. What is this beauty? Please walk us through it.
This is the Armin Strom Pure Resonance. Armin Strom, a Swiss watch manufacturer. I guess they're Swiss German, as they would say. Mm-hmm. It's really special in a lot of ways. Of course, it's a watch where you have the inverted movement, so you have the exposed balance wheels. It does use this phenomenon of resonance to give better stability or rate accuracy against shocks and things like that. But this is very special because this is more or less a prototype watch.
Wow.
One of the first made in this configuration, the Pure Resonance. But it's pretty amazing to get to wear this. Beautiful watch, great finishing on the case back, but really it's such an unbelievably technically complicated watch. And what I've really liked about Armin Strom, and as I got to know them over the last year or so in a more personal way, is there's not a lot of watches that match the finishing on Lange, and it becomes hard to buy other watches, even from very high-end watchmakers. But even though the design aesthetic is so completely different, it really hangs with
similarities.
And I love the quality of the finishing, the attention to detail, just the sheer amount of black polish that you see on the dial side. And one thing that they did in terms of the design with this that I really, really like is that you see, obviously, they have these exposed bridges and then the small subdial for the time indication, but they did the bridges plated in ruthenium instead of rhodium, so it makes this dark gray color, and I think the combination of dark gray and the rose gold case is really beautiful. This size to me is actually quite good also. It's just under 42 millimeters. Some of the other pieces are actually quite large because you know it's really two movements in there. But this watch it's a really nice size, and they taper the case. I even think that the lugs have a really distinctly Germanic vibe to them. It does not look like what you'd find from Patek or Vacheron or something like that. I like their design. It's super modern, and it's a really cool watch. So I'm very happy to get to wear it.
Double barrels as well. With the display
skeletonized. It's super cool.
Awesome. No, it's a beautiful watch, man. Really. And this lower lip is also very distinct for Armin Strom.
Yeah, I'm happy that they've maintained it. I mean, obviously, not that many people use it for personal engraving, from what I understand, but I think it's a cool design element.
I think it's important to distinguish themselves basically from the other cases and the companies. No, it's beautiful. Michael, congratulations again on your beautiful collection, on your success in the field of quantum physics and technology. Thank you for having us, and I'm very excited to see what watches will you bring, in the future.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's been great to have you.